Okay, I want to thank everyone for joining the Los Santos mayoral debate 2022. I'm here with. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, starting with my right.
I think he just forgot all the names. My name is Salvatore Rossetti, the fourth, for what it's worth. I'm 31 years old. I've been a resident of this city for about a year.
My name is Rajit Patel. Patel for the people, by the people. I've been here for roughly 3 months and some change. I'm a local business owner at Noodle Exchange, and I'm also a hard worker just like the rest, the people of Los Santos.
My name is Stan Ivanov. I've been in the city for about 4 months now. I'm the owner of the Sky High Bar, and I'm also a manager at Hookie's.
What do you plan on changing if elected? Like, what is your 30-day plan once joining office?
I mean, that's a pretty broad question, and I think that everybody knows that the mayor's office is a little bit limited in power as far as what they can do. But what we can do is petition the people and continue to be engaged with the people. So if that means a certain change, we get legal documentation in place to get people's names to paper and paper to the government, and see where that needs to go.
Okay, perfect. Raj?
I plan on enacting what I call my One Los Santos plan. In this One Los Santos plan, the first 30 days are going to be working with the federal government. Governor Lightbringer is going to be very pivotal to the successfulness of this plan and to the successful place of this city. I'm going to ensure that our streets are safer by bolstering the LSPD. We are going to ensure that the infrastructure is going to be more just be built better, but by the people. The big plan is to start getting jobs into the homeless hands so our economy numbers start to come up, and we want employment rates to skyrocket. So ideally, the One Los Santos plan is going to solve the issues of homelessness, economic lackability, and also start bolstering the local security that we have on these streets today.
Perfect. And Stan? Mr. Ivan?
My plan for Los Santos is to remove as much overburdensome regulation from the government as I possibly can. First and foremost is fishing regulations. No fish that's caught on these shores should be considered illegal. Secondly, revamping the airline industry. As a private pilot, I've noticed that industry is rather lacking. And third, make sure our logistics workers are actually fairly paid.
There's a lot of food places, a lot of business. So what are your plans on helping the food industry with the lack of funds?
Start with me.
Yes, please.
I think that the recent moves by the government to make everything more citizen-based, are the right moves, and I would help push towards that. That means privatizing some industries, but that also means that your average person has more avenues to make realistic, livable incomes off legal jobs. Get more legal work back into the hands of the people, and that means that you're where you get your meat, where you get your vegetables, where you get your fish, all of that now matters, and it's in the hands of someone else who's also trying to live just like you. You know what I mean? Gives us an opportunity to help out each other while helping out ourselves, the old American dream, huh?
Perfect. All right, Mr. Patel?
I think similar to what Mr. Rossetti said is very true. The people, the citizens of this city, run and work very hard to upkeep this economy. This economy is solely based in the hands of the citizens of Los Santos. But something that Mr. Rossetti didn't address that I want to take note of here is when you go down the street, perhaps you see some businesses that may not have opened recently, right? I want to work with the federal government to ensure that every city, every part of this city, no matter if you're in the south side, you're in the upper Vinewood area, no matter where you go, that there's an operational business with an actual accountability. If you have a business, if you're a business owner, we should be able to purchase some of those products when we need them. The people are speaking, and the people have spoken, and that is part of the One Los Santos plan, is to really heavily focus on getting these jobs into the people's hands. That is extremely pivotal for this economy to be victorious.
Okay, perfect. And Mr. Ivanov?
I believe this problem largely stems from the available market and the heavy competition in this market. There's so many food places, and not enough citizens to patronize them. So my plan would be to make sure that the businesses that do open are succeeding by making sure they have the supplies at the right prices, that they get contracts from other companies to sustain themselves and have enough work to do, and just operate as a successful business.
To be clear, you're talking about private funding and not government funding, yes, Mr. Evans?
Correct.
So, you guys are running for mayor not only for inner city issues, but also abroad issues up north, Toledo. What do you guys see any? Do you guys believe in more growth, more business up north? Maybe get more traffic flow going up there.
Listen, at the end of the day, they're people just like you and me. They're our friends. They're our friends up north. There deserves to be any kind of business that there is down here. They need legal representation. They need food. They need water. They need, a garage. They deserve all of that, and I think that they should receive the same funding, at least from a larger government perspective, that any business in the city down here would receive, and the same amount of attention as far as their product diversity and their outreach and things they're able to do.
Well, unfortunately, I think Mr. Rossetti and I are going to disagree on this. I believe that the Sandy area and the Toledo area do very well as they are. But I do agree that there is a lack of funding that needs to be applied to those areas. But I also would like to mention that these areas already have existing businesses, already have existing services that are available to these citizens. I think if we are to be able to explain raising a tax, which perhaps what Mr. Rossetti may be inferring there, we need to see the foot traffic. We need to make sure that the foot traffic rationalizes putting more funding into these areas. If we have a much larger need in the main city, we should accommodate that accordingly. So that is my stance on this.
So just to be fair, do you want to rebuttal? Do you want to counter that?
Yeah, what I said about it didn't have anything to do with taxes. All I'm talking about is the availability, the resource for starting a business there, maintaining a business there, conducting a business there. You know what I'm saying? I need, just to clarify that I'm not talking about raising the taxes on the people of Toledo or, their cost of living in any way. I'm just saying that there needs to be the same government availability for those places as there are down here in the city.
Okay. And then, Mr. Ivanov.
Yeah, in the recent weeks, we've seen Toledo Bay starts expanding. We've seen the hen house. We've seen the country store. We've seen a plethora of businesses in Blaine County, and that's fantastic to see. And I feel like we should treat each and individual county and township as its own district, and make sure that each one of those districts and townships has the same basic, the facilities as each other. I believe that a town such as Toledo Bay ought to have its own functional EMS squad, so that residents who fall ill or injured don't have to travel all the way down the pillbox.
Well, if I may rebuttal to that, I think that's a great idea, but we simply do not have the people to rationalize putting a facility up there. Perhaps there's already a facility up there, and I don't think there needs to be a split in departments, if that's what you're saying, Mr. Ivanov. I think that if the pillbox staffing decides to have one or two people go on patrols in that area, that would be more accommodable than having its own department up there.
Would you like to answer back?
Oh, yes. Perhaps a compromise could be made. The Sandy Medical Center seems to be equal distance between both locations.
Some of the candidates may have a rocky history being involved with a gang, a mob, or a family per se. If so, do you feel like you've left that in the past, or do you think this is something that will haunt you in the future if you're elected mayor? If this pertains to you,
Patel for the people, by the people, I do not have any a criminal history or record, and I have nothing to hide.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Ivanov?
I have a clean record, spare for a speeding offense, but, that's life.
Oh, okay. What do candidates think, eligibility for green card should be? What do you need to obtain?
So his question is, we're getting a lot of new people migrating over. What are your plans on getting green cards to every people coming over from other countries?
I believe that if a citizen has a legitimate other country of origin there on their CID, all they should need to do is, show that they can, speak the language and they understand to the extent that any other English-speaking citizen does or a natural citizen does, and fill out the proper naturalization forms, and they should be on their way.
Okay, Mr. Patel?
I also agree with Mr. Rossetti, but something I would like to reiterate is ensuring that they have no prior history of criminal ordinances, whether it be through previous criminal or federal cases ongoing currently with them, or anything of that nature, because of course we want to keep our city as pure as possible, and in part to do that is ensuring that the new citizens immigrating to our fine established city here are not in prior trouble, costing us a few hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars, trying to remedy this through legal advances.
If I could offer a short rebuttal there, I would like to limit maybe, that sort of thing to maybe only violent crime, because, maybe it's the lawyer in me, but, other places have different laws, and what may be, not right in one place is totally fine in another place. And I don't think we should be painting with too broad of a brush there, you know what I mean? I think we should look at it on a case-by-case basis, but, I think everybody should have an opportunity in this country, and in the city, it's the land of opportunity.
I would tend to agree with that statement, but as an immigrant myself all the way from Pakistan, it would not be reasonable to allow a murderer into our city borders. If murder is illegal here, I would not allow somebody who has previously been possibly convicted or an ongoing case of murder here. So what is right or wrong in another country and what is right or wrong here can vaguely be reasonably disputed many times over and over. So I think we need to be very specific with how we treat violent crimes.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Okay, perfect. Ivanov? Mr. Ivanov?
I think we should look at all their paperwork, their passport and all that stuff, make sure they're fine standing, they're not in trouble with the law for, felony charges, murder, any of those, anything that they're wanted for, that they're trying to escape, pretty basic.
How you doing, everyone? My name's Max Payne, and I have a question for all three candidates. What's your greatest achievement?
There you go. Want to start it off?
I would say that the opening of my own law firm, Rossetti & Partners, LLP, down there at 626 Haywick, is probably my greatest achievement in city. and I believe that with a little bit of hard work and admittedly a little bit of money thrown around, you can achieve anything you want. You can get anywhere you want to be.
I think for me, my greatest achievement would be able to acclimate comfortably to this city. Coming from Pakistan here into the United States, into this city, Los Santos, there were a lot of fears that I had, but when I got off that plane, I felt the people. I was one of the people. I walked as the people did. I worked as the people did. I was a trucker. I started fair beginnings as everyone else, as an immigrant. I felt so welcomed by these people, these everyday people who see the work that government do, who appreciate one another, who love one another, who smile and wave to new folks off the plane. It's what we have here in this city is something we cannot accomplish elsewhere, and I think we need to capitalize on the focus for the people.
Not so much for a rebuttal, but I'd like to expand on that. I mean, I think immigrants are not, everybody shows up with the same, 15K? Shows up with the same 15K in their account, you know what I mean? You gotta work hard for that.
Oh, yeah, we're just, yep, thank you for that. Okay, Mr. Ivanov?
I would say my finest achievement is taking ownership of Sky High Club. All my fantastic staff and all the great work we do there. We really do our best job to entertain the citizens of Los Santos. Regardless of what their day, I think our theme nights really, bring smiles to people's faces, and I can't thank my staff enough for that.
Yeah, my name's Mo. I've got a question for all three candidates. What do you plan to do about the rising epidemic of homeless on the streets?
I think epidemic's maybe a strong word. I think we've got a slightly higher unemployment rate than maybe we have in the past, but that's just that's on the community. You know what I mean? Local business owners and myself included. I've tried to sponsor a few local restaurants and purchase large things and give it away to charity at the end. But it's well within our ability to create jobs for these folks and get these folks back into an honest living and keep them away from crime and whatever vices they may have. There's support for that. Down at Pillbox, down at the legal offices, City Hall, anything like that, and try to get you back on your feet and get you working again.
Similar to Mr. Rossetti, I do think over the past few weeks we have seen a slight rise in the homelessness, and the unemployment rate is on the rise. And part of my One Los Santos plan here is by help bolstering the government by ensuring that we are doing hiring events for LSPD, hiring events for EMS, hiring events for doctors, local businesses, opening soup kitchens for those who are still trying to get back onto their feet. Perhaps even looking into a few programs that we can offer citizens that are in desperate need of this help to help this employment rate lower, and so we can help bolster our economy.
Mr. Ivanov?
Yeah, I believe economic opportunity is vast and plentiful in this city. I think we ought to be looking at, mental health and addiction issues and see what's going on with this city, see if that's playing a role into the homelessness. When I first got in the city, I don't know anybody who had difficulties making a living here. So I think we ought to look at each individual case and, let the medical professionals decide.
All right, guys, how you doing? Name's Johnson Biggs, owner-operator over at Ron's Trucking. Now, the previous mayor, he devised and set up a plan for a city-ran oil well, and nothing has come from that, and now the fuel system in the city is run solely off the economy entirely. What is your plans to, how to fix this issue with possibilities of, running out of fuel in the city?
Well, while
I understand how it works now. I just don't know how he failed you previously.
Well, he promised us to get a city oil well that he would hire, people from the city to go work at to supply the city with fuel for Ron Trucking and for the rest of the city. and that never went anywhere. Never hired anybody on.
So sort of a public works project, for gas.
What the mayor's doing.
I mean, I would support a project like that financially. I'm not sure what steps need to be taken, as far as on a city's part, but I would be willing to bear some of that burden. That sounds like a good allocation of funds to me.
Yeah, I think offering such a service to this city would be an absolute golden opportunity for us to take up upon, assuming we have the funding and the allocation logistic support from the federal government. I think offering this job to anybody who flies in and make an honest work off of oil, not depending upon Ron, but anybody. So in addition to Ron's trucking services and this oil field, I think there is great opportunity that can be had here. And I would really try to work with the federal government to make sure that this sees the day of light versus the failings of our last administration.
Mr. Ivanov?
I believe that we should take a look at the financials of the oil well and see how worth it is for the city to look into operating. And depending upon what outside advisors tell us, we'll either continue with operations and we'll begin operations, or we will look for outside backers to ultimately take over the well.
I'd like to offer a rebuttal there. I think we need to be a little bit more aggressive, even if it isn't a government-funded thing. The citizens need gas. The citizens need to step up, and some of them need to, get that gas different places. And it's two birds, one stone. It solves part of the unemployment issue as well. There are jobs that people don't like, but they got to get out there and do them.
I would agree with that as well.
Listen, being a mayor, you barely get rest, okay? I mean, you work throughout the whole day, and during the night you might have an emergency that just comes up. Therefore, it's easy to lose focus and give up along the way. The question here is, how will you stay focused, motivated in this role? And I mean, your source of motivation should come from within. So please don't mention things such as money or power.
I don't know. It might be kind of cliche, but I kind of like to go back to the golden rule. I know what kind of experience I'm looking for every day when I wake up in the city. When I wake up and I spend my time here, I know what sort of things I'm looking for, what kind of treatment I'm looking for, what kind of money I'm expecting to make, what kind of life I'm trying to live. So I think that doing my part to ensure that everybody else is able to have that same experience, I think that's what does it for me. I mean, money's nice, cars are nice, clothes are nice, but everybody around you being happy it makes for a better experience overall.
I think to answer that question, I would surround myself with a city council that is amongst you in the audience right now. I would restructure and make sure we rebuild, with the federal government's approval, reinitiate the city council program that we have. Of course, we already have one, but it's been very lackadaisical because of the failings of the last administration. But I think I need to surround myself by the people. They need to tell me the everyday problems that we face and that we must address them as they come. So I think my key to success, the key to the city's success, is surrounding myself by a city council that is made up of by the people, because the people will tell me what they need, what they want, and where they want to see themselves moving forward.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Ivanov.
The motivation that keeps me going forward and the motivation that will keep me in the mayor's office and doing the job that I promised that I would do is just the call to duty. I can't be another mayor that steps down 3 weeks into his term. We've seen that before, and I won't let that happen. This city needs a mayor, and there's no excuses, and I will make no excuses.
My rebuttal would be that there wasn't excuses before. There's an ordinance for what to do in a city when there is no mayor, and I think that hasn't been followed in the past. And I think that to solve a problem, you got to go to the source, and the source is that the policy is not being followed. So I think maybe the policy needs to be re-examined, or it needs to start being enforced as it is a city ordinance. But so I only partially agree with that.
So, our prior administration or mayor, failed you guys, but we had a mayor prior to that, a great J.C. DeSantis. Now, are you guys maybe motivated, or knowing that he's in the city, maybe getting some advice from a late great mayor we once had?
He's a dear friend of mine, but I think that in order to keep progressing and keep making change, positive change at that, I think it really needs to be sort of a clean slate kind of situation. And I think while it's valuable, us candidates, the three of us here on stage, and anybody else that may be penciled in for a vote, need to really consider their own take on it, and really look at the current situation. The things that JC said and did might have been absolutely 100% correct at the time he was doing them, but the time is now, and while it's valuable and while it should still be considered as part of the data set, I think we need to just move forward and take it into our own hands.
I think taking upon what Mr. Rossetti said, using the information and the knowledge that previous mayors had before us is extremely important. Whether they got something right or they got something wrong, learning from that, no matter right or wrong, because we may face situations here today that we have not faced before, and perhaps a previous mayor has done just that. I think it's important to gather the knowledge and information from previous administrations, failed or not, to ensure that these things do not happen again, or we improve upon them further.
Mr. Ivanov?
I believe the prior mayor is a wonderful inspiration of what you can do in office, and so I will definitely listen to any and all advice that he has to offer for me. How to do the job, how to stay motivated, how to continue on. It's an invaluable tool that I will definitely tap into.
Is the mayor position more of a money situation?
I don't want to interrupt. Do you have more of the question?
So I think what she's trying to say is the mayor position more for the money, or are you really there?
I'm not in any way trying to flex, but I honestly don't even know what the mayor position pays. I have no idea. I have never even been told. I ran on my own volition, regardless of the money. I didn't even know that it paid money, to be honest. I'm doing all right, and I just want to make sure that that your everyday folks are doing all right too. That's all.
I think my campaign has been focused heavily on the people, for the people, by the people. Like I've said many times, I'm an immigrant from another country, and I come here to bear the brunt of the economy's current state with the rest of you. I am by no means wealthy. I am by no means, gonna be driving around in 18 million cars, private jets, anything of that nature. I know what it means to work a trucking job, or have to work that late night shift to make ends meet, or you have to go to Burger Shot during the day and then you have to go to the 24/7 during the night. Sometimes you depend on lottery tickets and hope that you win. I know what it means to be depending on paycheck to paycheck. My job here is to ensure that that's a little bit easier for you. So obviously I'm going to ensure that I'm here for the people, not for my own personal gain.
Mr. Ivanov?
Money does not motivate me in this city very much. I own what I need to own. I enjoy the things I enjoy. I enjoy the simple things in life. Fishing with friends, just having a few drinks at the bar. So this gig as mayor, it's not going to mean, it's not for my pocketbooks. I became a lawyer. I've given away so much free legal advice, legal services, that if I was in this for the money, I could have been charging people.
I had a question. This is specific for Raj. You say you are from Pakistan. Do you have green card?
I am indeed a proud holder of a green card, yes, sir.
Okay.
What about the Russian over there?
Oh, so, Mr. Ivanov, are you American-born, or are you...
I was born in Russia in 1988. My parents moved here in the May of 1994. They both got citizenship. I got citizenship as well back in '94, and they left when I turned 18.
Yeah. What are you gonna do to help with the legalization of explosives? Let's say I want some sticky charges or something.
Well, listen, I'm not aware of any current legislation or proposals that deal with, the private ownership of explosives. But if it comes across my desk, I would be sure to, look at it with the same analysis and the same open-mindedness that I did anything else.
This will conclude today's debate. Polls will open tomorrow, up until the weekend. So stay ready for the announcement on when you guys are able to vote for your candidates.